Hey, welcome back to my channel Endless Pages. I'm Liv and welcome to today's video, which is my 12 and 12 for 2024. Hello, how are we all? Welcome back to another video. Yeah, it's time for my 12 and 12. If you don't know what it is, it's basically you reach out to 12 friends and get them to recommend a book each. Of books that they think you should read in 12 months, and this is my 2024 list. Yeah, that's basically it. Thank you to every single person that has recommended me a book. I will tell you who recommended me what book, obviously, but I'm really excited for this 12 and 12. There are some bomb-ass sounding books on this list that I'm so excited to try out. I can't believe people actually recommended me anything because I did 12 and 12 last year but didn't read a single book on the list. Maybe I did one. I think I read one out of the 12 books. So shocking effort. I'm gonna say I will be better this year at reading the books on this list, and I think potentially I might even do some vlogs where I read them just to make sure that I actually do read these. So let's just jump right into it. The first book is Hangman by Jack Heath. This is the first book in the Timothy Blake series. It's like a thriller series, and this book was recommended by the lovely Ash from Ash's Adventures in Books. So thank you, Ash, for this recommendation. This book sounds bomb. It sounds so fast-paced and like, yeah, intense. We follow a 14-year-old boy who has vanished on his way home from school. His mother receives a ransom call, and then just hours before the deadline is up, the police don't really know anything. So then we meet Timothy Blake, whose code name is Hangman, and he is a genius but also a sociopath. I don't know what it is, I just love the trope of like psychologically like insane, like, you know, sociopaths working, or like criminals working with the FBI or the police or whatever. I love that trope in TV, so I feel like it's going to be great in books as well. Yeah, so we meet Timothy Blake, and he is kind of helping out the FBI, and he's their last hope in this case. And the kidnapper is kind of more cunning than anyone Timothy Blake has ever faced. And he has been assigned a new partner, a woman linked to the past he's so desperate to forget. He has a dark secret of his own, and he will do anything to keep it hidden. He also has a price. Every time he saves a life, he takes one. Stop! This sounds so good. Yeah, so this is, I think, Timothy Blake solving the disappearance of a 14-year-old boy and doing some murder on the side. So I'm so freaking excited to read this book. The next recommendation is Bunny by Mona Awad. I think that's how you say that. I'm probably butchering it. This recommendation comes from Sam from Samantha Donovan. So thank you to the lovely Sam for this recommendation. I'm so excited to read this because I'd love to know where I fall on this book. I feel like I've heard such polarizing opinions on it. Either you love it or you hate it. So I'm very curious. And I think it's kind of like inspired by Heathers and has kind of Heathers vibes, and I do love Heathers. That is a great movie. I need to rewatch. I haven't watched that in ages. Yeah, so this is about Samantha. Samantha, and she couldn't be more of an outsider in her small selective school, and she's a scholarship student who prefers company of her dark imagination to that of most people. And then there's a bunch of rich girls at the school that all call themselves Bunny, and she kind of like starts to join this group, and she's just kind of really drawn to this group of girls that call themselves Bunny, and she just delves deeper and deeper into their world, and begins to take part in ritualistic off-campus workshop where they conjure monstrous creations. The edges of reality begin to blur. Soon her friendships with the bunnies will be brought into a deadly collision. New novel from one of our most fearless chronicles of her female experience. Bunny is a down the rabbit hole tale of loneliness and belonging, friendship and desire, and the fantastic and terrible power of the imagination. See, the blurb sounds amazing, and I do love the movie Heathers. I love that movie so much. So I I just saw, sorry, I just got distracted. I saw one of the reviews. I would join a cult with no questions asked. Yeah, I feel like I would be easily convinced. Anyway, that's such a good review of the book. This sounds really interesting. I think I might love it. We'll see. The next recommendation is The Thick and the Lean by Channa Porter. Just take a second to appreciate this cover. Holy shit, it's gorgeous. This recommendation comes from the absolutely lovely Sash from Sash Reads. Thank you so much for this recommendation, Sash. This is about a aspiring chef, a cyber thief, and a kitchen maid who each break free of a society that wants to constrain them. In a quaint religious town of Seagate, abstaining from food brings one closer to God. But Beatrice is hungry. She craves forbidden butter flambe and marzipan. As Seagate takes increasingly extreme measures to regulate every calorie its citizens consume, Beatrice must make a choice: give up her secret passion for cooking or leave the only community she's ever known. Elsewhere, Rico has left her modest roots for a college tech scholarship in the big city. A flawless student, she's set up for success until her school pulls her funding, leaving her to either face a mountain of debt or a humiliating return home. But Rico is done being at the mercy of the system. She forges a third path outside the law. With the guidance of a mysterious cookbook written by a kitchen maid centuries ago, Beatrice and Rico each grasp for a life of freedom, something more easily imagined than achieved in a world dominated by catastrophic corporate greed. This sounds really freaking good. I love the fact that it's like multiple POV. I love that in books. And that it's apparently gives messages on capitalism, body politics, which I'm really intrigued to learn more about, and the stigmas women face for appetites of every kind. That is so well written, and that line alone makes me so excited to read this book. Just, yeah, appetites of every kind. Yes, so, like the food metaphor, and oh, this sounds so good. Like, yeah, comments on body, weight, weight stigmas, capitalism, but done in a cool story, science fiction dystopian kind of story. Science fiction is just such a good genre to make comments on society. Like, I don't know, it just works. So this sounds amazing. The cover is amazing. And I think this is an amazing recommendation. Thank you. The next recommendation is Fruits Baskets. This is obviously recommended by Merb from Reading with Merb. Thank you to the lovely Merb for this recommendation. I feel like I've been telling her that I'm gonna read volume 3 for like months and months and months, and she's probably just had enough of me not reading it, so fair enough. So I will be continuing on with volume 3 I'm up to of Fruits Baskets. If you didn't know, this is a adorable, heartwarming manga about this girl who just kind of ends up in this situation where she's living out of a tent in the woods, and she doesn't realize that her tent is on this family's property, and she goes to school with like 2 of the boys in the family, and then there's a landslide, her tent's destroyed, and the family discovers that she's living in a tent on their land. It's like, no, come live with us, don't live in a tent. And the family that she moves in with are all animals of the Chinese zodiac, and when they are hugged by the opposite sex, they transform into those animals. I adore this series. It is beautiful, heartwarming, moving, with one of my favorite main characters ever. So I'm glad that Merb has recommended me this. I needed the push to continue on, because I don't know why I haven't, honestly, because I always have an amazing time and bawl my eyes out every time I read these books. Next up is a dark romance, which is a little bit intimidating for me, but I'm gonna give it a real go anyway, and that is Butcher and Blackbird by Byron Weaver. This is the first book in the Realness Love trilogy. You probably have seen this book around. It is very trendy at the moment, especially on TikTok. Basically, just to summarize this very quickly, I think it's just a romance between 2 serial killers. That's what I think I've heard about it. I would rather just kind of go in without knowing too much, I think. Sometimes I feel like I know too much about books before I go in. But yeah, I think this is just a dark romance between two serial killers. So, I mean, the serial killer part really intrigues me, but the dark romance part kind of intimidates me a little bit. But I'm gonna give it a go. 2024 is a year of trying new genres and pushing myself out of my comfort zone in reading, so we'll see how I go with this one. I almost forgot to say, Butcher and Blackbird was recommended by Eliza from Eliza's Bookshelves. Thank you so much to the lovely Eliza for this recommendation. Next up is a fantasy book, City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. This is recommended by Amy from Ducky Reads on Insta, so thank you to the lovely Amy for this recommendation. Thank you also for unintentionally recommending me a book that is actually on my physical TBR, so I appreciate that, because I could never read off my physical TBR at the moment, honestly. I've been being so bad with reading off my physical TBR, so thank you. This is set in 18th century Cairo. I just kind of want to read you the blurb, because the blurb's just written so well, and I don't think I could speak as well as it's written myself. So this is, in the markets of 18th century Cairo, thieves, tricksters, con artists, and outcasts eke out a living, swindling rich nobles and foreign invaders alike. Alongside this new world, the old stories linger, tales of jinn and spirits of cities hidden among the swirling sands of the desert, full of enchantment, desire, and riches, where magic pours down every street, hanging in the air like dust. Many wish their lives could be filled with wonder, but not Nairi. She knows the trade she uses to get by are just tricks and sleights of hand. There's nothing magical about her. She only wishes to one day leave Cairo, but as the saying goes, be careful what you wish for. This has been on my physical TBR for way too long, and it's about time I read this. The next book is The Assassin Thief. This is by Madeline Tiwu. Please let me know if I'm pronouncing that wrong. This is recommended by the lovely Tracy, whose Instagram I will pop in the description, as well as all the other people I've mentioned, obviously. This is a fantasy romance, so one of my favourite genres. This is about Telium, who was once the most feared assassin, who now lives out her days in exiles as she fights for dominance over her dark gifts. Oh, it's Faye. I didn't realise it was Faye. I forgot it was Faye. But all that changes when an errant Fae warrior enters her domain, drawn by rumours of a powerful being said to be born from the shadows of the dark goddess Tenebris. With their kingdoms on the brink of chaos, he calls for her aid in his mission to defeat the mad Fae king and prevent an all-out war. This sounds amazing! But the road to the Fae capital is a long one and haunted by memories of her past. She must decide if she can risk losing dominance over the darkness in her soul. Oh my god. So this is a debut fantasy romance. Oh my god. I'm so excited. We're hopefully going to be reading this at some point, and I can't wait. Fantasy romance Fae. Just a recipe for a 5-star read. The next recommendation is A Bridge Kingdom by Danielle L. Jensen. This recommendation came from Kate from Library of Kate, who I'm kind of like a little bit starstruck. Kate is like an Aussie booktuber, and like her channel and her videos are just so aesthetic, and she's such an aesthetic person. And I can't believe that she replied to little old me's like Instagram story. Anyway, yes, this was her recommendation, The Bridge Kingdom, which you can tell I have already started like months and months and months and months ago, and was loving, and just put it down for some reason. But I will start fresh. I won't start from here. I'll start again because I can kind of remember what happened, kind of can't. It's basically about this girl who's been like kind of trained up her whole life to like be an assassin, and she like infiltrates this kingdom to be married to this prince of this kingdom. They're called the Bridge Kingdom, and they control this bridge that like all of the trade between kingdom happens on, like, and they're super powerful because they control all the trade, and from her perspective, a lot of people are starving in other kingdoms and stuff because they have like a control on all of the trade and the whole bridge. So she like marries the prince and kind of goes to go undercover and mess with their kingdom. I think that's pretty much all I need to say about this book. I don't know. I didn't explain it that well. She's sent as a bride under the guise of fulfilling a treaty of peace, but yeah, she's there to bring the Bridge Kingdom down. But as she gets to know her new husband, she begins to question where true evil resides. She sees the kingdom fighting for survival, and in the prince, a man fiercely protective of his people. As her mission drives her deeper understanding of the fights to possess the bridge, she finds a simmering attraction between her and the prince impossible to ignore. Her goal nearly within reach, she will have to decide her own fate. Will she be the destroyer of a king or the saviour of her people? So this is enemies to lovers, I think, don't quote me on that, but I feel like it is. And last time I read it, I got pretty far in. I got like 150 pages in. From what I can remember, I was really liking it. Don't ask me why I put it down. I just must have been in a mood read. But yeah, thanks for this recommendation. I'm excited to finally finish this for once and get to the lovers part, hopefully, because I was still at the enemies part from where I was up to. The next recommendation is The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. This is recommended by the always lovely Emily from Books by Emily, so thank you so much. I was about to say excited again. I need to like slap myself every time I say that word. I'm really looking forward to reading this book because recently I keep seeing edits from the Netflix show Haunting of House Hill and Haunting of Bly Manor, if that's the right show titles. Anyway, I keep seeing edits from those shows and I've been really wanting to watch it. So an opportunity to read the book itself is really cool. One that I never probably would have thought to do if it wasn't recommended to me. But I'm also at the same time intimidated to read this because it's classic. It's a classic, so, but I'm gonna give it a good red hot go. Ew, why did I sound like a 40-year-old person there? Anyway, this is about 4 people who go to this supposedly haunted house called Hill House. We have Dr. Montague, who is an occult scholar. We have his assistant, Theodore. We have Eleanor, a friendless, fragile young woman well acquainted with poltergeist, and Luke, who is the heir of Hill House. At first, their stay just seems destined to be a spooky encounter with inexplicable phenomena. Easy for me to say, but Hill House is gathering its power and soon it will choose one of them to make its own. The show looks amazing, so it's made me enthusiastic to read the book, and I think it's a really cool recommendation, so thank you. The next book that was recommended to me is The First Day of Spring by Nancy Tucker. This is a thriller. This was recommended by the absolutely lovely Erin from Sheepers and Shelves. This is about a person called Chrissy who has just killed a boy. The feelings made her belly fizz like soda pop. Her playmates are tearful and their mother's terrified, keeping them locked indoors. But Chrissy rules the roost. She's best at wall walking, she knows how to get free candy, and now she has a feeling of power that she can never get at home, where food is scarce and attention scarcer. 20 years later, adult Chrissy is living in hiding under a changed name. A single mother, all she wants for her daughter is to have a childhood she herself was denied. That's why the threatening phone calls are so terrifying. People are always looking for them, the past is catching up, and Chrissy fears losing the only thing she cares about, her child. I support women's wrongs. This sounds really good. I don't know, a woman who likes killing and a woman like that cornered, trying to protect her child. I just can't wait to see what chaos she creates in trying to protect her child, and this sounds fantastic. Next up on the list we have another Fae book, These Hollow Vows by Lexi Ryan. This was recommended by the lovely Bekah from Cosplay and Books. This one's Fae, like I said, fantasy obviously. This is about Bree, who would do anything before making a deal with the Fae. Death is preferable to their vicious schemes, but when her sister is stolen by the sadistic king of the Unseelie court, there is nothing she wouldn't do to get her back, including making a deal with the king of the Seelie court. Getting unfettered access to the Seelie court is easier said than done. She's given a task to steal 3 magic relics for the from the Seelie court. So she has to pose as a potential bride for the prince of the Seelie court, Ronan, who's not quite as wicked as she once thought. Unwilling to let her heart distract her, she accepts a help from a band of Unseelie misfits with their own secret agenda. She spends more time with this mysterious leader, Finn. She finds herself struggling to resist his seductive charm. Caught between 2 dangerous courts, Bree must decide who to trust with her loyalty and with her heart. See, it sounds good, but at the same time, I think I haven't picked it up yet because it sounds like a potential love triangle, which is so not my thing. So I'm really iffy about how I feel about this book. We will see. Hopefully it's not like a whole book like love triangle where she just keeps being like, oh, I don't know, I thought I liked him, but I feel like I like him now. But I maybe I'm judging it before I start. But it does, like, every other bit of the blurb other than the love triangle sounds like such a me read. So I think I need to leave judgment aside and just give this a fair shot. The last book on my 12 and 12 recommendation list is Dread Nation, the first in the series of the same name. This is by Justina Ireland, and this book is recommended by the absolutely lovely Zoe from Book Reviews of Zoe. Thank you so much for this lovely recommendation from a lovely person. This is a historical fiction fantasy. I believe it's kind of like a reimagining of the American Civil War. So we follow Jane, who was born 2 days before the dead began to walk the battlefields of Gettysburg and Chancellorsville, derailing the war between the states and changing America forever. In this new nation, safety for all depends on the work of a few, and laws like the Native Act require certain children to attend combat schools to look to put down the dead. But there are also opportunities, and Jane is studying to become an attendant, trained in both weaponry and etiquette to protect the well-to-do. It's a chance for a better life for a black girl like Jane. After all, not even being the daughter of a wealthy white Southern woman could save her from society's expectations. But that's not a life Jane wants. Almost finished with her education at Miss Preston's School of Combat in Baltimore, she is set on returning to her Kentucky home and doesn't pay much mind to the politics of eastern cities, with the talk of returning America to the glory of its days before the dead rose. But when the families around Baltimore County begin to go missing, she's caught in the middle of a conspiracy, one that finds her in desperate fight for her life against some powerful enemies, and the restless dead, it would seem, are the least of her problems. This seems like amazing, but also at the same time like a little bit scary and overwhelming. Like, there's a lot going on. There's the whole like historical side that does intimidate me a little bit. But then at the same time, I'm like, discussions on race sound really interesting and feel like it'll be good to educate myself. And then zombies, you know, zombies, sick. So yeah, this book is quite intimidating to me, but at the same time, I'm super intrigued by. So I feel like this one I'll have to take my time with, or maybe audiobook it so it's a little bit less like, you know, intimidating. So that's the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below, have you read any of the books that have been recommended to me? What did you think of them? Which ones should I prioritize? Would you be interested in seeing me vlogging them? All of the people that gave me recommendations, all the lovely, absolutely lovely people that gave me recommendations, either their YouTube or their Instagram will be in the description below, so you can go check them out and give them some love. All of my social media links will be in the description below as well. Give this video a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you'd like to see more of my content. Thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you in whatever the hell I post next. Bye!